The He podcast is powered by Higgy Nutrition. Healthy gut, happy you. Who is he? He is me. Hi, I'm Rafi Redzwan. This is he. Here is my chance to share some amazing stories with some amazing people that are inspiring to me. He celebrates everyday people of everyday life. He revolves around conversations that inspire others to change the world and make a difference in life, with a little bit of laughter and a whole lot of drama. Join me for personal stories and experiences on health and healing, successes and failures, recovery and discovery, anything relatable, and anything in between. He elevates us to rise again and live our very best life. Just so you know, you are not alone. He is with you. We all know that vegetables and greens are good for you and are essential for good health and proper nutrition. However, given our current lifestyles and hectic pace of life, it sometimes is difficult to get all your nutrition on a daily basis. That's where my Daily Greens comes in. My Daily Greens is a premixed prebiotic drink that contains chlorophyll, spirulina, pomegranate, ashwagandha, and pagaga, all in a convenient sachet. If you want to be the boss of your health, just mix one sachet of My Daily Greens with water for better gut health, better energy, and immunity support. I have been taking My Daily Greens for some time now and have noticed improvements in my gut health and my overall well-being. Plus, it tastes good. As a special offer to listeners of the He podcast, you can get 10% of your order by using the code HE10 at checkout. Just head on to higgynutrition.com, that's HGHYnutrition.com, or visit the link in the description below. The best part about my podcast is I don't do videos, so you don't have the awkwardness.
I know, right? Because I do watch now some of the ones yang from UK, and
Oh,
then now kan
oh,
Spotify has the video, and I was
yeah.
thinking to myself, Ya Allah, kalau lah ada video, my
No,
face, oh
no.
my God. Woo.
Tapi kalau I finally buat, I akan buat setting Oprah Winfrey punya cantik.
Oh my God, I love that.
I akan
It
kamera
becomes a
lawa, angle
whole
cantik,
talk
kita make
show.
up. Exactly, kita akan lawa. Kita bukan macam kita bukan macam yang apa, yang
Yang
kamera kat depan.
santai tu.
Bukan, no.
It's literally either we go all out and we literally push
Yes,
it out there.
exactly. You get where you get where I'm going. Nina Andri takes the first step to envision herself being fearless. In this episode, he ignites a conversation to holistically cultivate a healthier lifestyle and solidify the story behind her journey of self-acceptance despite her struggle living with an eating disorder and dealing with her body image. The subtle expression of her pain stems back from her childhood experience. Profound psychological impact has further eroded her confidence throughout her discovery of who she is. A pivotal moment in her life is not to be afraid to take the first step, be proud of herself, and ensure her visions reflect a healthier mind, body, and soul. This is her story. Hi, Nina.
Hello, hi.
How are you?
Today I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm content and I'm good. Thank you. How are you? Let's go
I'm
there.
doing well. I'm so excited to have you on my show. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for being here today for me.
Thank you for allowing me to even have this space on your podcast. I actually really appreciate that you created this podcast for
Mhm.
to have different conversations. I would say like I've probably heard some of your podcasts, not all,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
think it's very interesting that you have a platform for just different people from different walks of life.
yes,
And I was very surprised that you approached me, so I'm
yes,
very thankful.
yes. And I've been eyeing on your story for a while, so I'm glad you are able to make it on season three. I really
Yes,
am. I
thank
really am.
you.
And today we're gonna talk about mind, body, and soul. I think it's key elements to our well-being, our basically survival, you know, that I think it's important to us. And I think you carry this subject and topic, well with me today, and to find out how you lead a healthy lifestyle and the story behind your self discovery and your self acceptance journey, how your aspirations in life help you to be fearless in taking the first steps, and what it means to be Nina Andri, how you turn your vision into reality to move ahead, staying positive for the body, mind, and soul. Now, how do you cultivate a healthy lifestyle for the mind, body, and soul and turn it into a vision of realities?
There's a few aspects to this question.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm going to start with healthier lifestyle for the mind.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know to say if it comes with age.
Yeah.
But I think when it comes to healthier lifestyle for the mind, it actually took me a while to realize, as much as the saying goes, your life is a choice. Life is choices you make all the time. I've always had that in my mind because my mom has always like put that forward to me. She's always like, Nina, whatever you choose or whatever decisions you make, at the end of the day, that is going to be how you live your life and that is going to affect your mind. So, coming as someone who had a phase, I had a phase where I had to battle with things in me, my inner
Hmm.
self, and all that. And I also had to battle with being a people pleaser,
Hmm.
And so sometimes I guess when you are a people pleaser, at the end of the day, there will be things in your life where you don't realize actually it affects your mind.
Hmm.
And you might turn into someone n- nasty or someone negative, I would say. Someone
Hmm.
negative or someone that's always macam just on edge. So took me a while. I wouldn't say I'm like my mind is like super healthy or whatnot, but I can say that I think I'm at a good place with like mentally I'm at a good place.
Hmm.
I'm able to differentiate and I'm able to make decisions when I feel like something is not good for me mentally.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
comes into play. And this comes into play when it comes to like the people you keep around. And I think for me, I'm an observer actually. So
Hmm.
in a big group of friends, I observe. And sometimes I have this thing where I'll observe something, or maybe the way someone reacts towards me, or something like that.
Hmm.
And I've realized, and this actually has happened a few times, where my first instinct, usually most of the time, I found, especially when it comes to myself,
Hmm.
is right.
Hmm.
Sometimes like you meet so many people on all walks of life.
Hmm.
And sometimes some people just don't have your best interests,
Yeah.
but you try so hard to fit that person in because you think it's good for you.
Yeah.
So I've learned to take a step back, if especially if I have that hunch. First instincts are usually right. I'm not saying it's always right, but it's usually
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And I think now I've come to a point that I am able to segregate when I think something is good for me mentally and when
Hmm.
something is not. So when something is not good for me mentally, I don't mind taking myself out of the equation. Because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, if it causes me to be upset, stressed, and I am someone actually who internalizes a lot of things. So
Hmm.
sometimes I lambat sikit bila nak respond. Like the emotions come a little bit later, and then when
Yeah.
it comes like a typhoon,
Yes.
and it really interrupts me lah. So I had one moment where like I turned to my husband because I think as girls or me, I'm a very emotional person, and
Hmm.
sometimes I let certain things affect me more than it should.
Yeah.
So there was a point where of my life where I did say to him like, I think I should go for therapy again. And he
Hmm.
went like, why? And I was like, I don't know. I feel like that whatever that's happening is affecting me and I don't like it. And then he was like, okay,
Hmm.
why don't we try? Let's talk about it. Why don't you try and talk to me? And then because I've been in that situation before, I
Hmm.
realized that my triggers are very macam I start like not wanting to go out. I just want to sleep all day and I start like thinking about it again and again. And I had moments where all of a sudden, before we were about to sleep, right? And like one sentence came out from my mouth, like, "Oh, did you know? Last week this was said." Contoh.
Hmm.
After I said that sentence, a whole fountain of tears. And I'm not talking about tears. I was talking
Mm.
about like sobbing. I was sobbing. And I
Yes. Yeah.
remember at that
Yeah.
point, my lampu dah tutup ni. My
Hmm.
husband turned. He was like, "Wait, what? What just happened?" He was like, "Are you
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
crying?" And then he was like, "Yo," he was like, "Wait, this is actually really deep." And that
Yeah.
was when I
Yeah.
realized actually whatever that went on was affecting me so
Yes.
badly. I
Yes.
just wasn't
Yes.
saying it. Like I was, and if you looked on my Instagram at that point, I was still going about my day. I was going about my day. I went cafe hopping. I went for classes.
Mm-mm.
I was
Mm-mm.
going about my day as per normal. And it happened to me a few times. There was also one time I was in the car with my best friend and something had happened and I didn't and I just ignored it. And we were just driving.
Mhm.
And I literally was at a traffic light and I turned to her and I literally just ran through in the car and she turned and she was like, babe, what is going on? And
Mm-mm.
I was like,
Mm-mm.
I don't know. So for me, ever since these little episodes have been going on and things like that, I've learned that when I can identify that something is not good for me mentally,
Yeah.
I deal with it on my own and then I try my very best to omit it from my lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I know it's a very crude way, but I think that is the only way that I can lead or I can at least have a mind that's content
Mm-hmm.
and that's at ease. Because life is life. I can't control things that goes on in life, you know. None of us can control. Like you will have to deal with the unexpected of life anyway. That will
Yeah.
definitely affect me mentally. So
Yes.
I've come to a decision that whatever that I can control, that's within the proximity that I can change or I can walk away from, I walk away from. Whether it's people, whether it's a situation, whether it's even a place. You know, sometimes certain
Mm.
places give you the wrong kind of vibe ke anything lah. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
then I
Yeah.
know to myself macam, okay, it's okay then. Maybe it's just not meant for me.
Does it have to do with us being overthinking sometimes? I'm exhausted and I burst to tears. I burst to
Yeah.
tears. I cried. I know I was overwhelmed with
Yeah.
life. Do you think that has to do with being an overthinker?
Yes. Because I think
Yeah.
I'm an overthinker.
Yeah. Me too. Me too.
And yeah, and I think overthinking without you realizing, because I think
Mm-mm.
without us realizing, most of the time in life, kan, as we go through, when we're with people or when we're with our significant other,
Mm.
maybe the overthinking gets like pushed back. And I don't know, I think when it comes to overthinking, for me lah, at least, I
Mm.
have yet to find a way to overcome certain
Mhm.
parts of my life that I overthink. Um, And one example, which is something that I am actually currently dealing with on a daily, is
Mhm.
that I'm gonna reveal my age. Oh, so is that I'm gonna turn 30 next year, right?
Mhm.
And I have amazing friends around me, amazing people around me that are thriving in their career path. Like thriving. And I love to see it. And I know that it is out there. The quote is out there that you should never compare your life. your career
True, true.
to other
Nina,
people. I
Nina,
know, I know it's out there.
Nina, I
Like,
am.
right, I know it's
I'm
out
almost
there.
40. I'm almost 40, but I'd have no driving career. I'm a nobody. I mean, I had a career. I had a successful career 10 years ago, but I am almost 40 now. I am literally nobody. So when you say that, I'm like, you have. I'm
I have
almost
you
40.
on board. I mean,
Oh
we,
my God.
yeah. So
What am I going to do with my life? Oh my
for
God.
me, it's like I'm there lah. That's why macam,
Okay,
that's why I
okay.
cakap like, for
Yeah,
me,
yeah,
I honestly am at a point of my life, okay, benda yang I can control, I control.
yeah,
Benda yang I
understand.
macam, I mean, of course, choices of my career path is something I can control to a certain aspect, and then certain parts I dah tak boleh control, you know, like, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm now at a junction again. That's the thing. I feel like I'm always at a junction, and I kind of feel like, and I said this to my husband a few weeks ago, and I'm like, why is it that why can't my path kan just flow? Like, I think orang lain kan flow je. Macam, why is mine not
Mm-mm.
flowing? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
and
yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, no,
Yes,
he
yes.
and it's that's the part where the overthinking comes in. Everything comes in
Mm-mm.
slowly, like satu, and I always say to myself like, okay, I don't want to be one of those people that's always complaining about life. But then the
Mm-mm.
reality is, most some days I am that person, and like I try so hard to not be, and but the reality check, I am. I can't
Mm-hmm.
like I still count my blessings every day. Of course I do.
Even without social media, I remember living without social media,
Mm-hmm.
say 20 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. I think social media started around, say, 2012 when Instagram came out and everything.
Yeah.
But I remember living without it. Even without it, even with just, I think with it, it makes it worse. Even without it, have already been like that, like what you experienced
Mm-hmm.
today. I've always felt like I'm not enough. I
Yeah.
always felt like people were thriving more than I am. I always feel like I am always behind. I'm always feel, I feel like people are better than me and at some point. But I think social media today makes it worse. I think people at your age now, you
Yeah.
feel like there's this pressure going on for you to keep up with life, for you to be
For you
what you
to,
see
yeah.
on the screen,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
And then when you don't
Yeah.
get it, you sort of feel like, where am I? Like
Yeah.
I'm 30 and I still need to do this. I haven't done this. I haven't do this and whatever.
Yeah.
I want to go back to your early life. Like, what has led you to be on this journey? Like, how do you discover yourself? I do understand that you are a fitness instructor. What has led you to be on this journey?
So what has led me was I was trying to initially I thought at that point, when I started working out, it was for me to kononnya lead a healthier lifestyle. Okay, so I will
Yeah.
say kononnya because
Uh-huh.
honestly, at that point, when I reflect back, actually, all I wanted to be was skinny. That's all I wanted
Mm,
because I was at the point of my life where macam I rasa like, oh, if I was, and I know this is cliche because this thing comes out. I feel like recently it has come out quite a lot on social media where it talks about how now people now or like maybe the generation now thinks about it
mm,
as long as I'm skinny, I'll be happy. As long as I'm
mm.
rich, I'll be happy. As long as I have a, I don't know, like some people say like, oh, I have a good
Yes.
looking significant other or whatever, I'm
Yes,
happy. You know,
yes,
that kind of thing. So
yes,
at
yes.
that point of my life, I was on this whole, as long as I'm skinny, I will be happy. And it was so toxic because I'll be so real right here. I doa tau benda tu. Like, I
Mm,
remembered
mm,
I pernah like doa that, oh my God, Ya Allah, I just want to be skinny. And that was how toxic I was to myself because I thought skinny would equal to me being happier. I would have a better lifestyle, you know. I would
yeah.
be able to fit into clothes that my friends can fit and look good in, and I can't. Or at that point, I felt like I can't. So I embarked on this particular journey of fitness because I just wanted to actually lose weight. I really just wanted to lose weight. I was always a chubby kid.
Mhm.
And like I mentioned to you slightly earlier in our conversation, I was always the biggest of the lot. I was always the biggest of my friends. I had beautiful friends. And I was also surrounded by a few around me that had that skinny privilege. And even between my sisters and I was the only one yang memang grew up bigger because my mom has always said like masa I kecil, I suka
Mm.
makan. Then everybody was complaining to my mom like, why is your child so skinny? And I'm the first child out of four. Why is so kurus? You know, no, 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 no. So my mom fed me with Apaton tau actually to make me gain weight.
Mm.
And then
Mm-mm.
she realized because my siblings and I, our gaps are quite far. So me and my second sister are 5 years, me and my
Yeah.
third sister are 7 years, and me and my brother are 8 years.
Yeah.
So my mom then realized that when I got into school and I was heavier, and I was already like quite heavy at that point, it was so hard for me to shed off the weight. That was one. And number two, like she realized that I was also like very aware of myself. So when it came
Yeah.
to my siblings, my mom learned that as long as my mom was feeding all my sisters or like my sister and my brother enough nutrition and we're not like malnourished ke tak sakit ke apa, my mom
Mm-mm.
wasn't going to bother with fattening us up.
Yeah.
But of course, masa tu I was already quite fat lah. I was already quite chubby. So my life throughout sekolah, even sampai sekarang bila I tengok my pictures kan, like I cringed out at myself because I was big. I was quite big. I was quite fat in my point of view at least. I know some people would say like not really, but I feel like in my point I was and I was always the biggest of my friends. So in
Mm.
high school, you go through the whole thing of you had a lot of friends from different schools, including boys, of course, at that point. And then I realized yang macam people would always be friends with me to get to know my girlfriends, which is fine. And I think it hit me bila
Oh.
I actually had a rejection because of how I looked like. And I mean, of course, I was a teenager, kan? So
Yeah.
that really affected me because
Yes.
I felt like that again. I went back to okay, between all of my friends, kan? Why does it have to be me? Why am
Mm-mm.
I the one yang have to like face this whole rejection because of your appearance
Mm-mm.
thing?
Mm-mm.
And
Mm-mm.
I remember hated myself and like I hated myself to a point that there was a point of my life during high school that I really felt like living was not worth it because I had very mean insults thrown to me, like whether it had to be with my weight or
Mm-hmm.
whether it had to be with how tan I was. And masa ni, we were in the zaman of blogspot,
Yeah. Yes.
if you
Yes.
remember blogspot,
I
right?
had one.
And yes, I had one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
blogspot had that anonymous chat box thingy.
Yes. Yes.
And I had really mean comments coming from that chat box at one point.
Mm.
And it really affected me. And even sampai sekarang, I ingat tau the things that were said. And like, I'm not going to say it here lah, obviously, but
Mm-mm.
it's
Mm-mm.
it's not a nice part of my life. But I feel
Yeah.
like those things was what pushed me to like, when I was in Form 4, I decided like, yeah, I thought I'm going to see. I'm going to cut carbs out because I thought that was the way to like at least lose weight. I lost weight. I did lose weight, just maybe not in the most healthiest manner. And
Mm-hmm.
because of that, I have like excess skin lah sometimes on certain parts of my body, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I went to university, my first year, I was I was quite small. And like I told you, I have parts of my life now, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I would say things like, guys, I rasa masa tu kan I cengkung. Tapi I rasa bila I cengkung, that was when I was the prettiest. I would always say that. And then I'm really, really like thoughtful and I have really caring friends now and they would always be like, shut up. And I always be
Mm-hmm.
like, no guys. Even over the weekend, I had a baju kurung on kan, and the baju kurung was quite fitting towards my arms. And I was just like, I don't really like how my arms look like. And then one of my friends was saying like, babe, you can bicep curl at 7.5 and you're telling me you don't like how your arms look like. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, maybe if I had skinny arms, the dress, the baju kurung would look nicer.
Yeah.
So I still have that. I'm not gonna lie. Like this battle with my mind, even if now I feel I'm content with my mind, days I'm content with my body even, I still have days where I don't accept myself.
Yeah.
So what led me to be a fitness instructor? I keep going off tangent. I am so sorry. What led me to be a fitness
Yeah.
instructor is actually during MCO, I join. I mean, during MCO, we were all locked down. We were all locked up, right? Couldn't do
Yeah.
anything. But one thing I was set on was that okay, I was at MCO. I don't want to let go of how active I was before MCO. So before MCO, I started working out religiously. And
Mhm.
that was because I realized cutting food out was not cutting it anymore for my body. It just wasn't. Like I reached a plateau that macam mana sikit I makan pun,
Mhm.
my body would like, or I would feel like I gain weight. So that was when
So,
I was
so
like,
you're
okay,
saying
kena.
if you work out and then you
Mm,
eat at the same time, it
yeah.
doesn't give you the same sort of feeling, and you do not lose weight.
So basically, what at that point I realized,
Uh-huh.
even if I
Uh-huh.
tak makan,
Okay.
so basically if I diet, so if I
Okay.
diet and I
Okay.
don't work out,
Okay.
my body still felt heavy.
Mm.
So like every little bit I makan, especially when it's carbs, I don't know why, but like my mind at that point was so hateful towards carbs. Like, oh, my main reason for gaining weight was always carbs or
Mhm.
dairy.
Mhm.
I feel like I tried a lot of things. I tried cutting dairy out. I tried cutting carbs out. I tried only eating brown carbs.
Yeah.
And I always found myself back in a position where I kept battling with my mind. So when I started going to
Mm.
the gym again, I realized I had to find something sustainable. And when I say sustainable, at that point, I think it was probably through like podcasts and through quite a lot of reading. I think so. I have a legal background. I can't remember which podcast it was at that point, but at that point, I was following quite a few people that
Yeah.
were fitness influencers, as they used to call themselves, dulu lah,
Mhm.
in the UK. And then at one point, clean eating was a thing, right? Clean eating was like a
Yeah.
strict thing. So I did the
Yeah.
whole thing where like in my kitchen cabinet at uni was literally oat milk, chia seed, oats. And I did the whole like the healthier version of cookies because I'm a big binge cookie eater. I did the healthier version of scones. It was macam-macam lah. And then at one point, um, I started realizing like it's not sustainable. And I needed
Yes.
something sustainable because I wanted to stop battling with myself. Like, I think it just came to a point that I realized, like, number one, I was memang going for therapy for my eating disorder.
Mhm.
And one of the things that my therapist said was, you do realize that no matter how much therapy you do, so as long as you yourself keep lying to yourself about this whole thing, and
Mhm.
you keep believing that eating healthy is going to make you happy and clean eating is going to make you happy and things like that, this is
Mhm.
not going to go away. Because I think at one point I had like a breaking point where I was just like, why can't I just be like a normal person that eats and just doesn't get fat? Like
Mhm.
that was me. I just didn't know. I just wanted to stop being a fat person. I just wanted things to look good on me. And like, I know this sounds so childish, but now that I think of it, like it was such a bad place for me. But that really was my issue at that point. Like I just hated how I looked, and it didn't help that I always had acne. So memang I just felt like everything and anything that could go wrong in a human was me.
Yeah. And
So
how long were you clean eating? How long were you clean eating?
oh, that went on for like a year and a half, like throughout my
A year
university
and a half.
years. I came back every time I balik, masa tu I balik summer, I brought back my chia seed, because my still chia seed kat Malaysia
Mhm.
was quite expensive. So I brought back chia
Mhm.
seed, I brought back like all those little bars that they say is healthier instead of, eating and all that. So
You
that
re-
was how I got onto the journey. Because even when I was clean eating, I wasn't losing
uh-huh.
weight. I wasn't losing weight at all. And that was when I realized like I think I need to exercise regularly and
Mhm.
at the same time find a middle ground for eating. Because at the end of the day, eating is meant to nourish you. It's meant to make you feel good.
Yeah.
It's meant to,
Yes.
you support whatever
Yeah.
you eat is meant to become energy for you to go through life. So it
Mm-mm.
was hard for me to reach that point of, because my relationship with food was so bad at that point already. So for me to like take a step back and look back at, for example, macam now, I look at cookies as, I know I can binge on cookies all night long, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm at a point of my life where I can eat a cookie and I won't cry, or I won't run to the toilet, or I won't
Yeah,
like
yeah.
hate myself, you know? So that was when I
Okay.
started working out. I tried to work out regularly sebab I fikir macam, okay, if I don't like jogging, I probably could find something that I like, or
Yes,
I
yeah.
could find something that, let me try and be consistent. So that was when I've always had a gym membership. So
Mm-hmm.
when I started going to the gym regularly, that was when I started picking up like, okay, how to curate a program. How can I,
Yeah.
try my best to like keep at it. Then I realized I don't like running. Okay, I
Mm-hmm.
tried the whole pagi jogging or like lepas class jogging. I don't like it. And then one of my
Mm-hmm.
friends said, "Oh, why don't you try a marathon?" I tried signing up for a 5 km fun run. Itu pun I nak lari for that
Mm-mm.
fun run just because I wanted to play with the colors that they throw for fun run. I did not like jogging, okay. And then when I came back for summer, I think this was in my second year, that was when
Mm-hmm.
I discovered indoor cycling. And
Yeah, yeah.
masa tu indoor cycling in Malaysia was very new. It was so new that there was only two studios. So I say this even till today, that first indoor cycling studio that I went to actually had such a healthy, positive environment. And
Mm-hmm.
nobody was there to show off. Nobody was there to show who's better than the other. And the instructors were all like genuine lah. They were just genuine. They love what they do. They love the community. The community wasn't that big. You can literally walk into the studio and like everyone would just like say hi, and it was such a good environment. And then
Yeah.
slowly I got the momentum of indoor cycling, and then I realized like, indoor cycling, because I was a dancer when I was younger, or my parents had always introduced me and my siblings to dance and music. So I realized, indoor cycling is actually dancing, but on a bike and to
Mm-hmm.
music. So for 45
Yeah.
minutes, it's cardio, but it was cardio I enjoyed. And at that point, I would do 7 a.m. classes. Tak tahu lah, masa tu maybe because I was a lot younger, I could do like puasa. After
Mm-hmm.
sahur, I would do a 7 a.m. class. I can't do that anymore
Mm.
now. I feel like
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
tak boleh.
yeah.
I have to do it post buka.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
also it was an escape. So that was actually how I got onto the whole thing lah. Macam it wasn't peer pressure, because I was actually doing it just with me and my sister, the two of us. And masa tu everybody was like, "Oh yeah, the sisters," because we're always together. And
Mm-hmm.
masa tu not a lot of my friends worked out. And then but then masa tu I remember lah, I said to myself like, bestnya if I have friends who would like these kind of things. Because I think the few best friends that I close to now, we all like different things. And I'm still one of the only ones in like my friends from school even. I'm still one of the only ones that like will do 6 workouts in like the whole week, and the rest of them are always like, Nina, you and your workouts. And I'm okay with that. And I started off this whole thing because of myself, which
Mm-hmm.
I think is the reason why now it's not a chore. Like people always say, like, I don't know how you do this whole like lepas kerja pergi workout. And
Yeah.
I
How?
honestly, I get this from my relatives. I even get it from my relatives. My relatives always, or even my parents, not my relatives lah, my parents lah, my mom. Because but then
Uh, uh-uh.
my mom also said like, okay lah kakak, but it's what makes you happy. As long as you're happy, fine.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's not a chore anymore. It's become a routine. So if
Mm.
I don't work out lepas class, or like I said, I was away from Thursday to Sunday, right? I was away for one of my best friend's wedding.
Yeah.
And if I was in a mindset yang I started with, which was, oh, if I tak work out, I tak boleh makan cake, or I cannot have desserts, or I can't have
Mm-hmm.
crisps. Okay. Also, I'm a big person who loves to snack on Lay's, especially if it's sour cream and cheddar. It's it's a junk food, And I had a very bad relationship
Yeah.
with junk food. Bad relationship in terms of like, even if I was never a huge binge eater, but because I knew
Uh-huh.
junk food is bad for me, Masa dekat UK, my first 2 years of my university life, I tak
Ya.
beli. Can you
Tak
imagine?
beli
Like,
langsung.
tak beli. Tak beli langsung. I would look at it. You know what I would find? I would find kettles yang vegetable.
Hmm.
That was how bad it was. So when
Wow.
I was in my third year, I had friends who were like, oh my God, you know, you can only get this in UK because balik Malaysia is like RM20. And so in
Yeah.
my third year was only when I slowly stopped looking at food as my enemy. I feel like part of my life would it turned out the way it turned out because of the support I had when I went abroad. Because I think
Mhm.
I don't know about Malaysian universities and I can't speak for Malaysian universities, of course. Tapi I rasa macam dekat UK, these kind of topics are more spoken of.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think the university support, the student support for me, that was the start of
Mm-mm.
where I realized that there is a way or there is a way around it for me to stop
Mhm.
having these battles in my head. Because I also feel like sometimes it's not even your upbringing. It's just certain things in life as you go on and you pick up. You
Mm-mm.
pick up, like for me, I think I picked up on when people were insulting me, when people were
Mhm.
talking about
Mm-mm.
how I look, the rejection I got because of how I look and things like that. And
Mm-mm.
I felt like
Mm-mm.
I can't even say that it's because my parents like didn't provide me the avenues for me to be confident, because I can proudly say like ever since I was young, I was put in dance school. So I had concerts that I performed for. I was put in drama classes. Every year we had a drama theater performance. So
Mhm.
I had all the avenues to have that confidence in me cultivated. But
Mhm.
there was a point of my life where I wasn't confident at all, that I was always drowning myself in black clothes because I felt like black made me look skinny.
Yeah.
I really didn't want pictures taken of me because I felt like my face, like I said, when I gain weight, is memang kat muka. So you can see it in my
Mm-mm.
face. Like I look very round, whatever. So that juncture lah, but I always say this to a lot of people, where that juncture where you want to make anything in your life your lifestyle, right? It has to
Mhm.
come from self-realization. As
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
as peer pressure, having friends around that do it, you can go on
Mhm.
that, but you wouldn't be able to sustain it.
Mm-mm.
So even for me, when I was in the UK recently and I had a whole month in the UK, I was fine going for classes alone. I didn't need anyone to push me. And even if my sister was like, "Alah, today I malas lah kakak," I'm like, "Okay, I'll go on my own. It's okay. I'll see you after that for lunch." I think it's because I've I now do classes that I personally enjoy. So when
Yeah.
I do classes that I personally enjoy, that 45 minutes, even if in that 45 minutes, adanya, like there will be a junction where I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired. But
Yeah.
after that
Yeah.
class, I cannot shake it off that I feel good.
Yeah.
And maybe sometimes I start off as like macam I will start looking at like how many calories did I burn today. But after that, I start looking into different aspects. So for example, for a spin class, for me, I start looking at how how is my heart rate regulated in that 45 minutes. Because if it's
Mm-mm.
regulated, then I know I'm able to maintain a certain heart rate in those classes. And then when it comes to strength, which is what I teach, for
Mm.
me, teaching actually brings a certain joy. I love it. I love teaching. And I think it's more of like, I love trying to get people who share the same passion as me in the same room.
I
And
see.
conversations that I have after class, like sometimes it can come from someone that I don't even talk to personally, but they just come from my class and they would be like, oh, ever since I started your class, there's a part of me that has felt a little bit more confident. And I love that. And like, so for me as well, I keep it quite real lah in my class. So like a few weeks ago, I lost my pamkat auntie. So actually she's my second cousin. I lost my auntie.
Mhm.
She
Mui.
unfortunately, yeah, so Auntie Mui.
Yeah.
So yeah, she actually was one of my like um because I always bump into her tau when I do certain classes around Bukit Amansara. I bump into her, and
Mhm.
she's always been so fit. She's always been very like into it, you know. She's
Mm.
always been
Yeah.
this person. Like after I graduated, she's always like, "It's okay, Nina. You don't have to work with your dad. Like just chart your own path. You know, whatever you choose to do, like." Your father will be your father. You will be yourself. You don't have to, because people always come back to me and be like, oh, are you why aren't you working with your dad? Are you under your dad's shadow? And I'm always like, no, I'm not. I don't want to be, you know, because I think because
Mm.
my dad's a great person in his career path, and I know I will never be as of the same, but maybe I can be of
Yeah.
something else in my own path, you know, that kind of thing. And she's
Yeah.
always,
Yeah.
always, always been very active, you know, and we all knew that she was training for this, and I've always been so in awe. I'm always like, I don't know how she does it, especially to the fact that, you know, she has a business, she has a child, she has a family, you know, that kind of thing. So,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
um, when I lost her initially, because she's a second cousin of mine, so tak ada nak
Mhm.
kata extremely close to tak, but every time I see her, it's always something inspiring. And usually after her, like, she trains running or cycling, I will always bump
Yeah.
into her at one of the coffee vans near my house before I go to work. And it's
Mm.
always like she's always onto something, you know. So one of
Mm.
my classes, um, one of my classes the same week that she passed, and I was so moved actually by the amount of people that came and how many stories that came out of people that she impacted in her life. I was
Yeah.
so
Yeah, yeah.
moved by that. Like the amount of either the kindness or how she's always the first person to look out for her friends, or how she's just always bubbly about life, right? And it's
Yeah.
just, and this thing didn't stem from one person tau. It like all of a sudden I realized that on my following, or the people that I follow, or the people that
Mhm.
I know around me, from even from the fitness industry or even from like different parts of my life, knew
Yeah.
her, and they were echoing the same thing. And so during
Mm.
class, initially I was fine. Like, you know, I mean, of course, throughout when we went for the funeral, I met my grand uncle and all that. And of course, like I think for me, I was just very like I was trying to content myself and like, okay, I wasn't trying to delve into my emotions with anybody, like my relatives or my parents or anything like that, you know.
Yeah.
So but all of a sudden I had one class, and then tiba-tiba masa warm down, and I
Mhm.
started talking about kindness, and I started talking about how a simple act of kindness, or a simple act of just allowing people to bring the best out of themselves, like it could
Mhm.
be probably 1% of their life, but how that
Yeah.
1% can be remembered to the very
Kan?
tiniest detail. And
Yes, yes.
I burst into tears while warming down. And
Yeah.
I think about me as an instructor, I'm very raw with myself. And I think that's because I always feel like there's no reason for me to be high up on my pedestal, because I'm no
Yeah.
better than anyone else. Yes, I'm an instructor, but at the end of the day, I'm human. And I want people that come to my class to feel that I'm human.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not this, you know, woman of steel or whatever. I'm not. I'm literally just another person who has chosen to have a
Mm.
part-time job out of her passion, and just wants to share that at the end of the day, I'm human. Yes, I'm pushing you in that 45 minutes, but I'm human. I'm human. I feel, I partake in emotions. I go through my monthly cycle. So there are times of the month that I'm at my peak and I can perform. But there are times of the month that my stamina and my body just says no. And I've
Mm.
realized that, like, one act of kindness in any manner can bring people so far. I was so moved by the amount of things people had to say about Auntie Moy, the amount
Mhm.
of like kindness that she spread. And I had some people like were talking about, like, actually it was as simple as every year she never failed to wish happy birthday. Like, ever.
Mhm.
And it was just that. And like that conversation was nothing but happy birthday. And that's about it. That's all it took. And I think sometimes in life, we're so quick to judge people. We're so quick to say nasty things about people. And actually,
Yeah.
we don't even know what that person is going through, tau. Because, like, I went through that recently where I I curate my my public Instagram in a way that I know certain things that I post on my public Instagram, I'm going to be judged for. I know it. So I
Mm-hmm.
also have certain things where I only share to a selective point, a bunch of friends, right? So there
Yeah.
was a point of my life where I realized, where I found out that even that selective bunch that I think had my best interest didn't have my best interest. And that killed me. Like emotionally, mentally, it affected me so badly because in no form I was trying to show off. It was just me
Yeah.
sharing my day-to-day life or sharing something
Yeah. Yeah.
great
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
happened, But for someone to turn around and say like, "Oh, there she goes again." It's like,
Who would do
"Whoa."
that?
Exactly.
Who would do?
Who
Random
would do
people
that?
or someone you know?
It was someone I knew. It was someone
Oh
I knew
God.
personally, and it really affected me. And I think one thing that I've learned coming into this industry as a fitness instructor is that everyone will always have a say.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone will always be out to say the meanest things about you. And like for me,
Mm-mm.
I know that there are parts of my fitness journey kan. I know
Mm.
contoh lah, I spin at least 4 times a week, right? But I still know that there are certain classes that I can't do the whole 45 minutes. So contoh,
Yeah.
but there are also certain classes where I'm at the right point of the month and I can like push myself tau. And I
Yeah.
realized, I
Yeah.
don't know if it's an Asian thing, I don't want to like stigmatize it, tapi I realize sometimes the things that come out from our mouth, kadang-kadang we want to compliment sebenarnya. Tapi we choose to
Mm-mm.
compliment in a sarcastic manner.
Yes. 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 And that
And
has to do a bit with culture, I believe.
yes, yeah,
It has to do. Yeah.
and like for me, I guess because I'm a sensitive person and I absorbed it, I don't like it. Like, oh wow, I saw you just now. You stayed up for that whole 45 minutes. And I'm macam,
Hmm.
yeah, but
What?
it was for nobody but myself. Like
But what
sometimes
was that supposed to mean?
exactly,
When?
exactly. It's like I
Yeah.
don't.
Right.
Sometimes I'm at a junction where I'm macam, um, okay, faham tak? Like I don't mean like sometimes I feel like say I'm sorry you feel that way that I was trying to overtake you or I was trying to show or whatever. But I wasn't because
Mm-mm.
sometimes when I'm in class, I have this thing where I zone out. Memang I zone out. Because I think I zone out because I know that 45 minutes is actually just for myself. So memang on the bike,
Yeah.
I I shot sendiri. Memang shot sendiri. Kalau I ambil videos
Mm.
of myself, like my friends who are
Mm-hmm.
instructors or even instructors that I go for, they're always like me and
Mm.
my sister dulu. When you were younger and you perform and like the teachers
Yeah.
always say when you're on
Yeah.
stage you have to smile. Whatever happens
Yeah.
on stage, you smile all the way. So maybe it's that. I pun tak tahu. Tapi kadang-kadang I pun tak tahu kenapa I'm smiling, guys. Tapi I genuinely
Mm-mm.
enjoy working out. I try my very best to lead a sustainable, healthy lifestyle. As
Yes.
sustainable as
I,
I can make it to
yeah.
be.
I think in this sense, sustainability is also about balance.
Yes. And
It's
I
not
think
just
balance is so
one-sided thing.
important. Yeah. And I think
Kan?
balance is so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I know my physiotherapist is going to echo me back on this. She's
Mm-mm.
always like, because
Mm-mm.
if you're listening and if this goes in out, I know I'm supposed to go for my physio soon. But yeah, she always says like, Nina, all the classes that you do, rest is also a form of working out. And I think sometimes for me, I go on autopilot mode tau.
Mm.
So I have this thing where in the week I will plan my workout.
Mm-mm.
Okay, Monday I know if I sempat, I want to do this class. Tuesday is the day that I teach. Wednesday is a day, okay, I have this class, this class. Thursday is another day yang macam, okay, I for sure know I have one of my best friends punya classes. If I can make it, that's the class I'm going to go for. I plan my
Yeah.
workouts out. And it comes to a point that there was a point where I was so on autopilot. It's about that point I was teaching 2 weekdays, 1 weekend. So now I'm teaching
Mm-mm.
1 weekday, 2 weekends, which some weekends it comes to a point where I'm tired. Sebab Saturday I mengajar, Sunday I mengajar. And
Mm-hmm.
my weekend, one of my weekends, I have to also, you know, divide time for family, right? So,
Yeah.
so that also comes into play. And then sometimes weekends, ada wedding, ada family function, da, 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 da. But at the end of a Sunday, I'm just like, did I really have a weekend? Because technically I'm still working
Mm.
because I have my
Tak
classes,
ada.
right? So
Yeah.
it came to a point yang last year when I had my anniversary last year with my husband literally chose where we went. It was a resort in the middle
Mm-hmm.
of Ipoh yang memang everything is just in that resort because he was like, if we had a staycation in KL, I can bet
Yeah.
you will escape in the morning and go for a class. And he's like,
Oh,
you need
yeah.
a pause and you need to breathe for a moment. And I think sometimes I appreciate that. And sometimes
Mm.
sometimes it may come from my husband, it may come from friends that are around me. Because sometimes the friends that are around me macam, you haven't had a pause, babe. Like, take a breather lah. Then macam kadang-kadang you
Mm-mm.
just don't realize it sebab like you're so focused on, okay, Monday nak buat ni, Tuesday nak buat ni, da, 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 da. And I think everyone has that, but sometimes to have that person, your friend or your support system to just ground you and be like, have you had one day that you just pampered yourself? Like, not a sweat, but go do your nails, go do your hair. So,
Yeah.
those kind of things for me is also what has helped me to build the routine, or what I feel, in my point of view, what's sustainable for me is having
Mm-hmm.
those people ground you and just like, I think you should breathe.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
just take a stop. So, but I think that also is what makes my life macam, I'm not all about work. And I know certain people are like my corporate job, right? I know some
Mm-hmm.
people are, but I've come to a point where work is work. Of course, I still have to work, but I also
Yeah.
enjoy that I have something after work. I have something else that I've curated into my life, and I don't want to let it go. And for me, that thing is working out, because
Mm-hmm.
working out for me is really my escape. I actually feel happy. I mean, of course, there are days where I will like whine and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired today, but I booked this class. But the minute
Yeah.
I get myself into that class, 45 minutes, I feel like this 45 minutes is mine. Nobody else is mine. It's like, it's my performance. It's literally just me and the bike, or just me and my weights, or just me and myself. And I think that's so important to have. Like, some people, that is watching Netflix or is watching YouTube.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay.
Yeah.
That can be sustainable in your own way. I feel like
Yeah.
cultivating a healthy lifestyle, it doesn't need to even be fitness. It can be anything as long as you know what your balance is. Like,
Mm-mm.
some months I keep saying like, oh, my balance this month is shopping. That's my escape. If my bank
Mm-hmm.
card cries, my bank account probably looks at me and be like, girl, what are you dreaming of? But I'm like, oh, but I'm happy. And I think I've come a long way lah. I rasa macam I would like to believe that I've come a long way to even feel
Yeah.
that way.
It's really about the
Yeah.
mind and the
Mm,
body. But how does your
the body.
soul feel? Yeah. Does your soul feel at peace? Does your soul feel like you accomplished, and then you feel like you set yourself free from all this, sort of, trauma or sort of pain? And then sometimes it's joy too, but how does your soul feel?
I think for now,
Mm,
my soul, I would say my soul at times,
mm,
it does it does feel accomplished, but it's not all the time.
yeah.
Because I know that there are some times where I have this routine, right? And then
Hmm.
it could be to put it in perspective, let's say I go for a class and I'm
Yeah.
at the point of the month where my energy levels are actually at the lowest. But then I
Mm,
go for a hard class, right? So coming back from that hard class, my soul then feels demotivated, right? But then it
Mm.
it does come to a point where maybe I have tried a lot of things when it comes to my mind. So when I start feeling demotivated,
Mhm.
I reflect back on like last week's class, and I'm like, wait a minute, last week I could do this and this and this. Let's just say, right?
Mhm.
This
Yeah.
week I could only do a half of it. Why is that? I'm more in tune with that in terms of my body. As much as I do feel demotivated at that point, my mind
Mm.
kind of switches into like, but then again, it wasn't because you lack training. It was
Yeah.
because your body is at a point where it is naturally at its lowest. So
Yeah.
it's okay that I couldn't do what
Yeah.
I could do last week, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But at the
Yeah.
same time, I feel like when it comes to the soul, I usually intertwine my soul with my mind quite a lot. And I
Mhm.
think most of the time we are always our harshest critique. And I'm a
Mm.
very I'm a firm believer of that because
Mm.
um I think in all aspects I will always critique myself at its worst. And I think that goes for a lot of people, if not everyone, I'm not going to generalize it because I think some people have a really, really, really good relationship with their soul. Um, and actually, as an instructor, last week, sorry, I went for a workshop. It was an instructor's workshop from
Mhm.
an instructor from the UK.
Mhm.
And one thing about him, like, so when I went to the UK as well, I went for his class, and we always had very engaging conversations after his class. And in his class, he always talks about the connection between the mind and the soul.
Yeah.
And his class is just done in a different way that it's intense, but at the same time, it allows you to switch a different part of your mind and your soul to have it connected.
Mm.
That even when your soul is feeling demotivated or lost,
Mhm.
there is always certain aspects of your mind that is able to combat that.
Mhm.
So last week when we had that session with him and he was explaining how um sometimes all it takes is you just gotta slow down a little bit.
Mhm.
Like if you're at level 5 of autopilot, you bring it down to a 3 and give yourself that moment to just breathe.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if your soul is not content and rested,
Mhm.
you will always be restless.
Mm.
And when you start being restless, and with restless, usually you start being negative
Mm.
without you realizing it's literally a domino effect.
It is.
It
Yes.
it will start it will start interplaying. But he said, so as long as, because I guess for me, okay, for example, for a fitness instructor on ClassPass, we have comments that we don't know who posts them, right?
Yeah.
And because of that, because it's all ghost comments, anyone can write anything. And for me, that is my biggest fear tau sometimes. Sebab I feel like, oh, I did a really good class today. Like I thought I was on beat, or I was able to cue well, I did well, and then a class pass comment comes and like I
Mhm.
think today it wasn't the best. I think the instructor today spoke too much. I think she doesn't know what she's doing. And mind you, the comments on ClassPass are mean. And so when I went to the
Mm.
UK, and I spoke to this instructor lah before he came to Malaysia, went for his class. His name is Wolf, and I spoke about it. I said, you know, I don't like looking at ClassPass comments because, like
Mm.
I told you before, I started off being a fitness instructor without a following.
Mm.
Um, so to chart that path and to make sure my classes run every week and not have it cancelled or whatever was actually very hard because I didn't have a following.
Yeah.
So it was so hard. So when the studio I teach at started being on ClassPass, I was so happy because that means I get like, I get new clients, I get new clientele and all that. But at the back of my mind, I knew customers that come from ClassPass also have the power of, I mean, honestly, it is the power of giving honest feedback lah sebenarnya. Tapi sometimes what people don't realize is being an instructor takes a lot.
Yeah.
You have to understand that you have the routine to curate, you
Mhm.
have your playlist to curate, and then you have yourself to hype up.
Yes.
And mind you, being an instructor, there's no MC tau.
Yeah.
If you are on your menses and you're having the worst cramp of your life, you gotta show up.
Yeah.
If you just, and I had to do this 2 years ago. I had like one of the most heartbreaking news of my life. Malam tu I had a class.
Mm.
You gotta pull through.
Mm-mm.
And I think for me, it's always like you gotta pull through, because at the end of the day, these people pay for class. And I always feel that way. And it's not cheap. I think fitness boutiques punya classes are never cheap.
Yeah.
So I would not be able to live with the fact that if I have a bad day and I don't do my best and people pay for that class.
Yeah.
Because if I were to pay for a class and I get like an off class, I would feel macam that was a waste of money.
Yeah.
And people work for their money, you know, and I feel
Yeah.
like everyone works for their money. So it is my responsibility as a fitness instructor that I should at least be able to deliver the best class that I can to the best of my ability on whatever days that I teach.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like I said, we can't control life. Life is uncontrollable. You don't know what's going to hit you.
Yeah.
It hits you,
It's
you know.
true. Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. So when it comes to that, I feel like sometimes people who do come for classes, they don't realize that instructors are human,
Yeah.
you know. Sometimes the comments, if it's constructive, it's fine. But sometimes it's not constructive. And I don't know if people know this, but female instructors always get the worst of the spectrum. I don't know why. Somehow or another, even like when we were in training, it was made known that, okay, guys, between you and your male counterparts,
Mm-mm.
don't be surprised if diorang punya classes will always run.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for us, for females, it takes a little bit more energy, a little bit more of effort to push your classes. You know, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
macam sometimes I think that this is where it comes back to, it doesn't hurt to be kind. And I think it's okay to be opinionated, it's okay to be constructive. But you have to differentiate between being mean and
Yeah.
being constructive.
Now, may I know what an example is that sort of comment that they give to women instructors?
So for example, one of it was well, for me it was like oh, I think the instructor today focused too much talking about like her personal life.
Huh?
So I was just like, oh, okay, all right. And actually this also happened to one of my good friends recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as humans, you cannot help but be affected by what people say. You
Yeah.
really can't help it. We're humans.
Mhm.
Emotions are natural. It's the same thing with falling in love. Benda tu natural. So unless you have a very good relationship with yourself, and for example, for me, like unless I have a very good relationship and very like strong confidence in my instructing that no comment is gonna bring me down, that's fine. But at the end of the day, I'm human. For me
Yeah.
to read a comment that says that I sucked at teaching my own class, it's gonna hurt. It is going to hurt and tremble me down.
Wow.
But I feel like sometimes even now I actually read ClassPass comments only when I have capacity to deal with the aftermath of the worst case scenario lah, which is saying like,
Mm-mm.
oh, she's just a shitty instructor, full stop, you know.
Mm-mm.
So I have come to terms that I don't always read my ClassPass comments, because I don't know what people, because people, the thing is, right, some of them depan-depan dia tak cakap, they won't tell me, they won't say it to me after class. They'll be like, oh my god, it was such a great class, I loved it. And then suddenly a ClassPass comment comes and you're just like,
Mm.
okay, maybe people didn't love it.
Yeah.
And I can't help but feel insecure as well, because
Yeah,
my
yeah,
colleagues that teach in the studio that I teach are great at what they do. So of course I will always have the insecurity in me, and I always feel like, am I doing enough? Am I pouring enough effort into my class? Is my playlist good enough? Are they gonna return to my next class? And it's always that. And at the end of the day, the fitness industry is a competitive industry. Like, the studio that I teach at is not the only studio in KL that has strength and training. There are so many other studios in KL that has strength and training.
yeah.
And sometimes it's like, um it's preference. Sometimes it's really preference. Like, even for me, I go to classes yang I know I like the style of the instructor, I like the
Mm-hmm.
song of the instructor. It's always about the instructor, normally for me. And I don't know. I know I have some people that I know who go for classes to, like, to instructors that are good looking and whatever. And
Yeah.
I think that's fine. But I think for me, it's not about that. It's more about, do I click with the instructor? Do I
Mm-mm.
have certain, maybe it's just certain parts of the way her or he curates their
Mm-mm.
playlist is song that I listen to. And I like listening to those songs in that 45 minutes, because then it
Yeah.
makes me forget. So I always feel like instructing is also about connection, how you connect with your riders, or how you connect with for me, is how I connect with those who come for my class,
Yeah.
for my customers.
Yeah.
And that connection, sometimes it could be the most random thing. Like the other day, it was the fact that we both just came from a legal background, and she was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my god, it's so refreshing to know that you're in the legal field, but you
Mm-hmm.
actually have a passion outside it. And I'm like, yeah, I do. I said, it's not normal, sebab I know among my colleagues pun, a lot of my colleagues are married to the job. And sometimes I sit thinking to myself, maybe I should have that much passion.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also very content and happy that I have other things in my life that I am excited for, or I like.
Yeah. And I'm trying to picture this situation where you are instructing a class. Would it be like, I'm Nina, hi, today I'm very sad, I'm very depressed? Is that something that you do? And then I have my
No,
period today, and then
but
somebody would say
but
like,
like,
she's too personal. She's
no,
emo. No.
I think it's like, so sometimes before I start a class,
Ah,
I'll be like, okay guys, just heads up, I had a really bad day at work today. Yeah, with the
okay.
EDM at the back. Yeah, because my songs are very
Oh, I
EDM
see.
based. Yeah. So I play with emotions quite, I mean, I like lah. I like playing with emotions quite a little bit sometimes. And sometimes it comes naturally, because I don't pre-plan what I say in class. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I really go off what I feel that day. Um, and I go off, sometimes for a day, I will have like a certain macam, okay, for today, the theme is appreciation, right?
Hmm.
So sometimes I will have that topic at the start. And the things I say in class, none of it is scripted, because most of the time it's just what flows to me at that point in time.
Yeah.
Um, but sometimes it's off that. Before I start a class, I'm like, okay guys, we're gonna start our warm up in like five in 10 seconds. But heads up, today we had a really bad day at work, so we're a little tired. So if
Mm.
I say certain things that is related to me being tired, you can ignore me or you can resonate with me. I will say something like that. Or
Hmm.
adalah sekali tu, I'm like, okay guys, this is my first day of my menses. So that can either mean that I'm high on my energy, or we're gonna have some parts where maybe we're gonna have a breather, something like that lah.
Hmm.
And it depends. Some people don't like it. Some people feel like, no, you're an instructor, you come, you teach, that's it. I don't need to know your life story. Some people
Hmm.
actually like that I'm raw. Because so when I broke down during warm down, if you can just imagine, tengah stretch tangan ni, and then suddenly like my tears started flowing. I'm like, guys, I don't know why I'm crying. Um, I
Mm.
actually had a few people that came to that class that like DM'd me and like, wow, actually your warm down was so raw that I then realized that I haven't connected with kindness to my friends in a while. And I was like, oh
Mm-hmm.
wow. And then I had another regular who is a friend to me right now also, and he opened up. He's like, I lost my brother as well, all sudden. Because
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
things I said during the class that I broke down was that life is too short. You never know.
Yeah.
You just never know. And you could be the healthiest person and something can happen. So
Mm-hmm.
part of the message was, when you have time, no matter when this week, if you haven't already, if it's someone that is important to you, drop that small text.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of you.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
or I said, like, if you have a chance to do the tiniest kindness or spread the tiniest form of love to anyone,
Mm-hmm.
don't miss that opportunity. At the end of the day, we're all going through something. It's just whether we put it out there or not.
Yeah.
And I think being kind to a person, no matter who, is so important, because that person might be having the hardest day of their life, but they're
Mm-hmm.
just one person that doesn't want to share it because they don't want to burden the other person, or they just feel like, no, it's something that I need to deal with. So I think for
Yeah.
me, I have been surrounded by so much kindness from people around me, and sometimes it's at like interjection it's oh, sorry it's always at junctions where I don't even realize that without these people offering me kindness, I wouldn't
Yeah.
have been able to carry on.
Yeah.
So, and I think sometimes, especially when you have a slightly bigger group of friends and you see each
Mm-hmm.
other quite frequently, you forget to remind them, or you forget to tell them that you actually appreciate their presence. You
Yeah.
actually appreciate the times that they've just been there at the right time, or even sometimes, even when they're not there, but they give
Mm-hmm.
you that tiny bit of support that you need to go through the day. And I think for me, at least, maybe because I'm a sentimental person sometimes, that I
Mm-hmm.
carry that with me throughout. Like the
Right.
smallest, it could be the smallest thing. Like the other day, I had a friend who remembered out of the blue that I am a big lover of my pumpkin spice latte.
Mm-hmm.
And when it came, when Starbucks started it again, she brought it to the studio for my class. And she was like, I literally remember that you're such a big fan of pumpkin spice latte. And like I
Yeah.
appreciated that so much. I was like, wow. I was like, okay, thank you. Like, because sometimes, you just blabber things out of the blue, and sometimes you don't even know who's listening. And I'm just like, okay, guys. And I think the tiniest form of kindness actually brings a person, it could bring a person's emotions and mental capacity slightly further.
Yeah.
I think
So true.
like, don't underestimate the smallest thing. Like, just don't, because I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
sometimes I think we overthink, or like I overthink lah. I selalu macam,
Mm-hmm.
oh, but what if I do this nanti, oops, what if I do this nanti
Mm-hmm.
orang tu rasa apa, or what if
Yeah. Yeah.
we overthink the smallest littlest thing. And I just feel like sometimes it's not worth overthinking. And if you think you're doing it out of sincerity and you
Mm-hmm.
have no ill intentions, I always feel like, then do it. Because I always feel like people are people are people always have things to say about you. Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you do the smallest thing, and you do it out of
Mm-hmm.
sincerity. But then the next person is going to turn around and look at you and like, yeah, you're just doing that just to show off. There's always going to be that kind of people. There's always going to be that kind of humans in this world. And I feel like I've come to terms that I will never be able to satisfy everyone. Like, I think I'm
Mm-hmm.
a person that my um my love language my love language is acts of service. And
Yeah.
one of the things that I love doing for my friends is planning their birthdays. Like,
Yeah.
I love it. I love hosting. I love
Yeah.
hosting. I love throwing people surprises. And
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I honestly don't know what it is. It's just I just like planning. I like event planning. Like, it doesn't even need to be in a big scale. It's a small scale, it's fine.
Yeah.
I will go out of my way to macam go on Canva, curate the invite, and
Yeah.
plan it
Yeah.
theme. And like last year, I threw my husband a Pokemon party, and I went
Hmm.
into the whole thing of like the bottles, the labels were Pokemon, the plates were the Pokemon, and I DIY'd the plate. I had a white plate and I cut a red plate into half, so the plates were all the Pokemon ball. Um,
Hmm.
and it was just like
Wow.
it was those kind of things, but I love it. Like even for my friends, I love planning, but I'm also a very sensitive person. So when I hear unpleasant comments about things that I do out of my own good intention, I get very
Hmm.
affected and I get very
Mm.
sad.
Yeah. Would it affect your performance? Like,
Yeah,
yeah, it would affect your performance.
it
Would it
would
affect
affect.
your job as well? Like, your KPI
I think
at work?
it'll affect my performance in terms of I will have because I will have it like dangling in my head, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And then
Okay. Okay.
macam I will try to not let it affect my work lah. Macam especially that my work really requires me to be like brain switch on. I
Uh-uh.
try, tapi sometimes, like I said, we're human. We're human. How
Yeah.
how do
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
control not feeling upset that when I do something out of sincerity, someone is questioning it, and
Would
it
your
doesn't feel right.
Yeah. True. But would your employer would take action because of that
No, I
comments?
don't.
No, huh? So
No,
they're free for you
because I
to do
feel like
whatever, however. Yeah.
I feel like this one
You
macam
think
more
it's
of
right.
like
Yeah.
on a friends basis lah. So like for example, I do something
Ah,
for my
okay.
friends.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Wow. Um, this is very interesting. I mean, this whole story is just a revelation to me. Um, you know, it's more than just your mind, your body, and your
Yeah,
soul, right?
it's definitely more than that. I think
It's
it
more.
goes
It's
it goes beyond, and then you don't realize that actually the three
Yeah.
things it intertwines because when comments like that happen, it automatically for me it interrupts my soul.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then I start
Yes.
questioning like, but I
It.
did that out of sincerity.
Yeah.
Why would the other person think that I didn't do it out of sincerity?
Yeah.
Or I did that class out of my own hard work. Why
Yes.
is it that the other person turned it around and said that, oh, it was a
When it.
shitty class?
Yes. And when it's interrupting your soul, it would affect your mind. And then when your mind is when you, your mind is disturbed, it affects your body.
Yes.
Okay. And then when
Because,
it affects your
because,
body, it affects your
yes,
soul.
if it's your soul, correct. That's why I always feel like all these three things are really intertwined. And I
Yeah.
feel like some people have different ways of combating it. Because I rasa macam, for me, at one point of my life, the way
Mm.
I combat or the way I
Yeah.
tried to
Yeah.
stay
How do
grounded was mediation.
that's how you cope with it.
That's how I cope. Like
Okay.
I macam try every morning before I pop into the shower.
Hmm.
I will try and find. I used to have an app called Headspace.
Hmm.
Now I don't like subscribe to it anymore. But on Spotify, there's actually so many episodes of just allowing yourself to meditate. And I don't mean meditation in like in a religious manner.
Hmm.
I mean, like not how some people say like you certain chants of yoga. If if you're a Muslim, you're not meant to chant. I don't mean that kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
mediation.
Yeah.
I mean more of just being mindful of how you start your day or how you want your mind to start the day. I think that's
Yeah.
very important. Like
Yeah.
I try my best to find podcast episodes that me up positively. And
Yes.
when I say positively, sometimes it could even mean that I listen to podcasts when it comes to like topics when it comes to how I can connect with my religion. When it comes to um, nutrition, I also try and listen to podcasts just to educate myself. And even
Yeah.
when it comes to religion, I have actually found really, really good Islamic podcasts where they make a conversation out of certain things where your mind or your body or your life feels disconnected
Hmm.
from God. And I
Yeah.
rasa macam podcast has actually helped me in that way.
Can?
So I really, really feel like podcast is so it's so diversified. You can,
Mm.
I'm not saying it's an answer to everything, no, but I
Yeah.
am saying that it's something for me that I have, it's another thing that I've made into a lifestyle to listen to a podcast. Like,
Hmm.
it's also an escape. Like, I can go jogging and I could be listening to a podcast.
Yeah.
I know some people don't agree with me because I've had this conversation with a few friends and they're like, how? How are you listening to someone blabbering and you're running? And I said lah, macam sometimes I don't really run 10 km. I run maybe like 5 km. Itu pun sometimes like 2 km I stop and I'm walking. But
Mm-mm.
even that 2 km, listening to a podcast, and if it's on a topic that I'm very interested in,
Hmm.
it makes me forget that I'm doing whatever I'm doing. Or I could be cleaning the house, washing the toilet, and I'm listening to a podcast and I love it. But I said,
Yeah.
of course, I'm not saying that it's for everyone, but it could be
Yes.
an option. But it is my option for me to connect my mind and my soul. Because I know
Yeah.
when I connect my mind and my soul, automatically I can somehow be in a better space with my body.
Yeah. Yeah. And within your own private space, because you are in your own listening space, doing something that
Exactly.
you love, and then it feeds your soul with what you are listening, and
Yes,
then
that's
it
correct.
just makes you feel good. It makes you feel better about yourself, and I
And I
think
think
that's
that's what's most important. Like
yeah, yeah.
I really echo that whatever you choose to create that healthier lifestyle, it has
Mhm.
to be something that is happy for you.
What is your advice to those people struggling to be healthy in the mind, body, and soul?
The starting point is you have to find out what what is it that you want out of it. Like,
Mhm.
what is your why, because I think when your why comes from within,
Mhm.
it's a little bit more easier for you to work around it. So as an example, your why doesn't even need to be your end goal, because like for me, my why initially was I just wanted to be skinny.
Mhm.
But now my end goal is I just want to reach a point where I'm content with how I look and how I feel.
Yeah.
And that on its own took, like, it's been has it been 9 years since I graduated? Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Okay. Let's just say, yeah, bleh, I'm so old. It's been let's just say it's been 9 years, kan? And I
Yeah.
started this whole journey on myself like when I was in
Yeah.
second year. So that makes it what, like 11 years, maybe? No, even more, because I was in the UK for 5 years. So
Yeah.
it took that long, and along the way I had a lot of dips, where
Mhm.
dips in terms of like I gave up, dips in terms of like I started binge eating again, or even like gained weight again and things like that. And I think one thing that I would like to put out there is this healthier lifestyle, it goes way beyond how you look like.
Yeah.
I know it that is a concept that it takes a while for people to grasp about. Having a healthier lifestyle always intertwines with you're at your best, you're at your peak, you're at your ripped, you're like shredded. But
Mhm.
I think I have come to terms that a
Shredded.
healthier, a
I know shredded.
healthier lifestyle really
It's
doesn't
like
mean all
cheese
that.
grater. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, a healthy lifestyle does not mean all that. No,
Yeah.
it may as well just mean that you're in a happier place. Like, even for me, I just feel like my healthier lifestyle is a sustainable lifestyle. And what I mean by sustainable is that I can still do the things that I want to do that make me feel good at my own pace,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's important because at the end of the day, like we said just now, life is life. Life will never be a straight path.
Mm.
Life will never be as what we planned. Life will always throw us off the corner or throw us off, the juncture. Maybe you even reach a T junction that you never even planned to reach, but you reach it because of life. So I think you, after you find that why, then slowly building into it and just creating that routine, you need to have flexibility. You need to have flexibility in terms of with yourself, that it's okay to fall off that path sometimes and come back. And your why can always change. Your why doesn't need to be the same as anyone else, nor do people need to know it.
Mhm.
And I think that's just really important because I rasa at the end of the day, if you don't cultivate or you don't create it to suit yourself or for yourself, it's very hard for you to fall off the path. You can never find a one size fits all. Everyone does it for different reasons. And like I said, a healthier lifestyle doesn't need to mean that you're going to the gym 5 times a week. A healthier lifestyle could mean that you don't think about work on the weekends.
Mhm.
Maybe that's what your mind needs. Maybe that's what your soul needs. And automatically, like, you wouldn't be hurting your body if your mind and your soul is in a place where it needs to be for you to feel at its best. So I just feel like it's it's very hard to not be harsh on ourselves,
Mhm.
but I think that is another reminder that I think everyone, all of us, we're just trying,
Yeah.
and remembering that we are actually trying
Yeah.
would help make you feel that you're human. And
Mhm.
that's it. That's what it is. We are human. We're made to feel, we're made to have emotions. And that's okay. Because if we were all a computer program that we could literally make ourselves like a sim, I think
Mhm.
everyone could probably be at its best because, your emotions, you can switch off, switch on, you can change your emotions as you like. But because we're human, it's normal that the path will never be a straight line. And I think that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. And before we end this conversation, Nina, what are your hopes and dreams for yourself, for the people that you work with, for your family, and for the world?
I think my dream is, I mean, um, I hope that I will continue to be the best version of myself, even
Mhm.
when I feel like I'm not. And I think, like I said, there are a lot of instances where I have those. I don't feel like I am at my best. So I sincerely hope for myself that I will have more chances and more times in this life that I'm content and I am literally doing my best and being my best.
Mhm.
Dreams, um at this point, I think my dream at the moment is really, in terms of professionally, is for me to have a solid professional career, whether it be in what I'm currently at or in something new. I think one of my biggest dreams is that, like, I just I want to build a career, but I want to build a career that's me and not one that's not me, if that makes sense.
It makes total sense.
And yeah,
Yes.
I mean, some
Yeah.
people would think that it's such a dreamy thing to say, like you just want. So
Can.
I sometimes I'm not so sure, like, I don't. I'll be very honest. I'm not so sure like how I can answer that question that fits right for everyone either. But
Yeah.
when it
Yeah.
comes to my head at the moment, that's the dream for me at this point.
Well said. Wow. I think, Nina, you are an inspiration to me. Thank you for sharing your stories with me.
No, but
How
thank
you
you for
open up
having me.
to me
Thank
about
you
your
very much for
journey.
having me.
I think it's an amazing story to begin with. I mean, it's we can go on and on.
Yes,
Can?
it feels like that actually. That's why I said, like, we
Can?
don't really know each other, but this conversation has turned into something that
Yes.
you feel like you're having a chat with a old friend
Yes.
and just
Yes.
reflecting on life, or like how life has been.
Yes. And how I feel I can connect with you, how you connected to this topic, to this conversation. I think
I
we
feel
hit
like
the right note.
yeah, I hold this
Can?
topic quite dearly to myself,
Yeah, yeah.
given what I feel and given how I've just
Mm-mm.
decided to get into this journey of mine. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think definitely this topic resonated with me very
yeah.
much.
And I hope when you listen to this conversation again in the next 5 years, 10 years, or maybe 20 years, you reflect to it and be like, ooh, wow.
I
You know,
hope it'll
you're
be
proud.
something I
You'll be
can be
proud of
proud of.
yourself. Tapi
I think
kan,
I
Nina,
hope
I never listened to I never listened to the old ones. I was like,
I was about to
ew.
I was about to say I do not like listening to my voice again. So bila people who come to my class record
Yeah,
me
yeah,
talking, I'm like, oh my god, guys, please stop. Like, I want to switch off
yeah.
the audio. So I
Dia
don't know
macam,
if in 5 years I will listen to myself, but we'll
yes,
see.
cringe macam tu kan. Padahal masa tu kita
Yeah,
rasa
I'm
macam,
always like,
wow.
oh my god, my voice, is
Yes,
that how I
yes.
sound like? Oh, okay. Is that what I said? Okay. So 5 years from now, for myself, let me
Uh,
pray that I did not say anything that I regret
no, no.
or anything that like embarrassed myself a little bit too much. But
Yeah.
honestly, I don't really like listening to myself. I don't. Even when people record my class and I repost it, I'm like, guys, I'm gonna switch it off. I'm not gonna listen to myself. I'm gonna
Yeah,
just
yeah.
switch this off.
Yes, yes. Well, it's natural to feel like that, but I think what's important is how people would find meaning in this conversation. I think that is
Yeah,
the
I
core
truly
of.
hope I don't I mean I hope it will touch as many people as it can. I feel
Mhm.
like it doesn't even need to touch millions of
Yeah,
hearts. If
exactly.
it touches at least one person that
Yeah.
can resonate with certain things that I've said or maybe how I feel throughout this whole journey, I think that's more than enough for me. And of
Yes.
course, for you for providing this platform, and for
Yes.
me to have such a raw conversation,
Thank
uh,
you.
and making it my first official podcast. Thank you so much. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. And of course, the podcast channel that you've created for different people from different walks of life to just come in and talk on topics that resonate with them. I think it's a very special platform you've created. And I think in Malaysia, there's not a lot. There's not a lot
Yeah.
of podcasts that create that space. And I think
Yeah.
I really, really hope one day it turns into a talk show, as you've mentioned. Your very own Oprah Winfrey. Yes, I
Yes.
sincerely
Yes.
pray for that. Maybe
You
you should
obviously
start
have
thinking
heard
about
my.
it. There's video podcast now, right? So
Yes.
I sincerely
You.
hope it happens soon,
Thank
you
you,
know.
Nina. This means so much to
Really.
me. Thank you. Oh my
But
God,
yes,
what
this
you just
conversation
said.
has been
Thank
very
you.
interesting.
Yes.
I hope you had fun, and because I did have fun. I think I blabbered on for a little bit, but yeah,
I love it.
the way your questions were created really intertwined with things that I've been through and the topic itself. So thank you very much again for having me.
Thank you for all the
I
kind
want to say
words.
I look forward to the
Yeah.
episode being out, but I don't know if I look forward to listening to myself. um, hopefully I don't sound that bad. I hope so. Maybe
It's
I'll listen back
perfect.
up
As it
before.
is. I think it's so you. It's so real. It's so
I
raw.
hope
I'm
so.
loving it. I'm loving it. Thank you, Nina. Tin.
Yeah, thank you so much. I had a lot of fun tonight. I had a lot of fun. Thank you so much for the conversation.
Support the He podcast via a one-time donation, a monthly subscription from as low as $1, a lifetime membership, and purchase He's exclusive collection of merchandise. And for all other business inquiries at buymeacoffee.com/Rafi. Thank you for listening to He. A new episode is available every Thursday, and don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We'd love to hear from you. Follow me on social media at Rafi Ridzwan and at He Podcast for all the updates and behind the scenes. Once again, thank you for listening to He with Rafi Ridzwan.